Christianity did not misinterpret hell, it eliminated her. It took the Norse afterlife, built on cause, not sin, and fractured it into punishment. It stole a belief your ancestors trusted for 1,000 years and buried it under fear. Before the cross reached the north, death had structure, death had meaning, death had dignity, but a population that does not fear death cannot be ruled, and that is why the Norse afterlife was destroyed. This was not theology, it was control. If you don't hear this truth now, you may never understand what was taken from your bloodline, and they counted on you never questioning why. The hell you know is not the hell your ancestors believed in. The Christian version is not a mistake. It is a conquest. They did not defeat a monster. They invented one. Hel was the forgotten goddess of Norse mythology, the sovereign of ordinary death, the ruler of the realm most people entered. Even the earliest Norse sources still show exactly who she was, and the few lines that survived were never meant to be read this way. She threatened the power of punishment. She broke the hierarchy Christianity required. A goddess like that could not survive the rewrite, so they made sure she didn't. In Norse mythology, the dead were placed by cause, not judged by morality. Sword death meant readiness. Sickness meant rest. The sea claimed its own, and hell held nearly everyone else. This system did not bend to priests. It did not answer to kings. It did not rely on fear. But a death that cannot be threatened is a threat to any institution built on obedience. So Christianity dismantled the Norse afterlife, piece by piece, until your ancestors' understanding of death was replaced with fear. This was the moment the Norse afterlife began to disappear, and that fear followed every generation after them, including yours. Hell's realm was not fire, not torment, not moral punishment. It was quiet, structured, necessary. It held the majority dead, not the wicked, not the fallen, just the human. The sagas describe halls, bridges, gates, and roads, a world with geography, not judgment. But Hell's realm was not an ending. It was continuation. The dead did not vanish from the world. They moved into a different relationship with it. Ancestors still mattered. Memory still mattered. Death did not erase belonging. A death without fear removes the power of any man who claims authority over you. If people learned death could be peaceful, they could no longer be controlled by punishment. So Hell's image had to die. When Christianity reached the north, it found a people who could not be intimidated by death. Warriors who met it head-on. Farmers who accepted it. Elders who understood it. How do you conquer people who aren't afraid to die? You don't. You change what death means. Christian scribes reshaped hell into something she never was. They fused her name with hell. They turned her halls into fire. They pulled her authority out of the cosmology and replaced it with judgment. Not because it was true, but because fear is easier to rule. This rewrite didn't just corrupt a goddess. It severed your ancestors from their worldview. That fear did not stay in the Middle Ages. It followed bloodlines. That is the scale of what was taken. Even after centuries of distortion, the surviving Norse texts still reveal the truth. Hell receives without cruelty. Hell houses without wrath. Hell governs without punishment. Gylfaginning describes her realm as cold and ordered, never damned, never cursed. Poetic fragments describe travel to her halls, never torment within them. Even when Christian authors wrote the texts, they could not turn hell into a place of punishment without breaking the entire Norse cosmology. Even Snorri, writing under Christian rule, could not fully hide her true nature. Her existence collapses the idea of hell. Her realm invalidates the threat of punishment. Her authority undermines the entire system of fear. That is why her truth was buried, not because it was unclear, but because it was incompatible. Subscribe if you want Norse mythology as it existed before fear replaced meaning. And if you were taught to fear death, you were never taught Norse belief. When hell was twisted into hell, the North lost more than mythology. It lost its relationship with death itself. Your ancestors became strangers to their beliefs. Generations forgot the afterlife that belonged to them. And fear replaced meaning so completely that most people today don't even know what was stolen. Death became a weapon. Punishment became leverage. Control replaced culture. The fear you grew up with is not Norse. It is manufactured. That fear wasn't inherited, it was installed. Hell represents the truth Christianity could not tolerate. That most people live ordinary lives and die ordinary deaths without needing judgment. That stillness is not failure. That rest is not punishment. That death is not a threat. She was the keeper of continuation, the ruler of most ancestors. The sovereign authority Christianity could not absorb and could not tolerate. They destroyed her image because they could not destroy her function. And no rewrite could erase the simple fact that her realm made judgment unnecessary. If you understand that, you understand why this rewrite was the first step in breaking a culture that refused to be ruled by fear. Hel was not a monster. Hel was not Hel. Hel was the shield that protected ordinary death from becoming a tool of obedience. The rewrite severed that shield. It severed your connection to your ancestors. It severed the meaning your people once lived by. This is why the rewrite had to happen, and this is why the truth survived anyway. The gods are forgotten when we stop sharing their stories. Follow, share, remember.